Homestead, how the heck are you today? Today's barn chat's going to be a little different. When I originally started this out, it was going to be to get new homesteaders to uh, step into what's it take, because you hear so many people saying, I can't put together the money to homestead. Well, that's true in many people's situation. Today, I'm going to talk to you about setting your goals and fighting for those goals. And I've been through it myself. I'm going through it right now. And it's a very important thing for you to do. Okay? And let me cover some of the things that you're probably not going to want to hear, but you need to. Because you can do this. Depends on how bad you want it. All right? So, move you back into the office where I can get some decent light going, and we'll talk. It's a little gray out here today. See you in a minute. Hey, back inside. A little cool, gray, and wet out there today. So, but let's talk about goal setting. Okay. Um, I've had a few folks tell me, "Oh man, you need to eat more. You look like you're losing a lot of weight." Okay. That's intentional. It's not that I'm dieting. I just sat back and said, "Okay, uh, what's the average uh, required calorie intake for a man like my age and size?" And I've set my eating habits to that. We as Americans seem to, anytime we suffer from a hunger pain, head to the kitchen or head to the fast food place. And, you know, let's face it, Americans traditionally, okay, through most of our history as Americans, have always been a little hungry, okay? Uh, we didn't necessarily always have everything we wanted to eat, okay? So is that a place you can look to start trimming your budgets? Sure. But mainly, I want to set as goals. All right. It's very important that you be able to meet your goals. That's the important part. One of the goals I had was I was too fat, man. I needed to lose some weight. Okay. I need to get down to, my desired weight and get after it. I have done that. Okay. I am wearing clothes now that I haven't wore in years. Luckily, I hung on to them. Okay, so I haven't had to go out and buy a new wardrobe. So, yeah, it's what you do. And one thing about weight loss, especially for guys, if you're working hard or you decided to start getting back into good physical shape and started working out more, then your weight's going to kind of fluctuate because muscle mass is heavier than fat. So you lose some fat, you put on some muscle, there you go. But you find out you don't need the food that you think you do. Okay. Today, tonight, my supper is going to be some stew meat. Okay. It'll be boiled first. There's a reason for that. I'm going to boil up some stew meat, and then I'm going to fry it. Okay, because I don't much care for just boiled meat. I like to have a little fried going on there. I know, probably not the healthiest thing, right? Hey, what the heck? My great grandmother fried just about everything you could eat in a house, and lived to be 115. So, you know, who's to say? But tonight, to give you some idea, and it'll probably be for lunch tomorrow. I'll take some to work with me tomorrow. Is I boil up some stew meat, then fry it. But the stock that it leaves behind, I will take and make, and probably some of you have never heard this, but buy a bag of corn flour, you'll see. Cornmeal is cornmeal mush. You cook up a cornmeal mush, which is kind of like grits kind of thing, in the boiled off stock from your meat, and throw a vegetable in there with it, and you got a couple of meals, and probably going to cost you and somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 a meal. Yeah, $1 a meal. Now, is it a big 7-course meal? No. Will it fill your belly? Will it give you the necessary nutritional value that you need? Yeah. I do take a multivitamin every day. And those things in itself gives you everything your body really needs, so you could probably get by without eating. But it gives you everything but calories. But you do need some carbs, and you need calories and things of this nature to stay healthy. Can you sit back and look at your diet and go, there's no place for me to cut this back? I think you'll find that if you look at it honestly, yeah, there's a lot of ways to cut it back. Okay. Beans, there's another way. I make chili at least once a week. And I mean, I can have 4 or 5 meals off of a small thing of chili. I make a pretty mean chili too. So, can you cut your food budget dramatically? Okay. You don't need all the breads and all the carbs. So you can really cut that back. One of the best ways to do that is to say, hey, I'm not going to buy store-bought bread anymore. I'm going to bake my own bread. Guess what? That's a chore. Okay. Use it a little more sparingly. So there's a lot of things like that that you can do to hold your food costs down. All right. Now, I am blessed here because I'm on an electric program. They call it a flex pay through the co-op. I can check my daily usage of energy and watch it change day to day, depending on how I use it. Like right now, I have the light on so that you can see me. And that's it. Okay. Now, this bulb that's in this lighting setup is a highly energy efficient bulb. Okay. But, and all the lights I have primarily in the house are like LED lights, things of this nature. I've went through and changed those all out. What's that help me do? If I'm not running any fans and heat and things of this nature, my average utility cost for a 3-bedroom, living room, dining room, kitchen, the whole shoot match, 2-bath place runs right about $1.25 a day. Yeah. Now I turn on the heat pump. Ooh, stand by. You know, especially during this nasty weather we've had here in Tennessee of late. I didn't keep it real cold in the house, or really warm in the house. I kept the temperature down around 60 degrees. People, 60 degrees, you're freezing. No, I'm not, honestly. I've got a couple of good blankets on the bed, and I do have a small space heater and a little oil-filled space heater. They're pretty energy efficient, that I keep back in the bedroom and keep the door closed. And that heats up the master bedroom and the bathroom just beautifully. Keeps it nice as warm as toast in there. And I can literally turn it off during the day, and at night go in a couple hours before bed, turn it on, medium or low, and it will warm that area up and to where you're comfortable, where you're not freezing. But here's the secret, folks. You're not going to run around in shorts and a t-shirt and feel comfortable. You're going to feel a little cool. Try sweats and socks and house shoes maybe. All right? And you'll find you'll be fine. You're comfortable. You are not going to freeze to death even at 50 degrees, okay? Not going to happen. And like a lot of nights I come home from work, it's well after midnight, close to 1 o'clock in the morning, and the inside of the house will be around 50 degrees. I will bump on the heat pump and run that up to about, 57, 58 degrees, and then I shut the heat pump back off, because the house will retain that heat for most of the night. Now, yeah, in the morning when you get up, you better not come out of that bedroom without, some sweatpants and sweatshirt, socks, because you're going to walk into it. Boom, it's kind of cool. All right, if you absolutely need it, but usually in the mornings I'm up, I'm making coffee, I'm doing my thing, and I'm moving around. I pretty much quickly adjust to the temperature, hold that bill down. Because I quickly learned that if you try to keep it comfy, it's going to cost you. Most folks that I've been talking to in the area here, their utility bills have crept up to $350 to $400 a month. That's a lot of money, folks. You want to be a homesteader? I hear people say, oh, I want to get off grid and stuff. What do you think the inside of a small house that you're running off of wood heat's going to be like first thing in the morning? I grew up that way. Let me tell you something. You see your breath. It's cold. Okay, you come out of underneath those covers and it's like, wow, get a fire going. Okay? We become too soft, too dependent. But the main thing is to set your goals. Okay? What are your goals? First thing you're going to do is look at how can I cut back every dime I can, okay, out of my household budget. If your family and you are having supper in the dining room, that should pretty much be the only light on in your house. Just the one. Try to keep everybody grouped together, moving through the house. If you got small children, let them play in the living room. And you can get by with a table lamp or two. You don't need to light up your house. Okay? Not necessary. Start making sure your family turns things off behind them. Unplug the chargers you're not using. Be surprised how much that saves you. Appliances you're not using. Keep unplugged. You don't need microwaving. Seriously, you don't need all that going. And it saves you money. Get your power bill down. Okay, to where even through the winter months, you're not spending a small fortune in power. Don't waste a bunch of time running all over town. Plan your trips out. Okay, save on that gasoline. It's expensive. Average $2.30 a gallon right now. Cut back to the amount you're traveling. See, there's a lot of ways you can get control of your money. And it may not sound like 30 bucks here, 25 bucks there, 50 bucks there. But by the time you're done, all of a sudden you find out you're putting back a couple $100 a month toward your dream. And here's what usually happens to most folks. Things come along. Happened to me here recently. Truck broke down, had this kind of stuff going on. Didn't have the money, right? Before I would take and put it on a credit card. I finally got angry with myself for that. Because now all of a sudden when I pay these credit cards off and then I have these little crises, I put stuff back on them. The bill goes back up. Now I'm shelling out more money for that. I clipped them now. Just cut them. So that's it. So now when I pay them off, they'll be paid off. Can't use them, I won't use them. Keep that in mind. People, oh, I need them for emergencies. No, you don't. How would you deal with an emergency that you didn't have that credit card for? Do without. Okay? Huh? Have a little slush fund sitting there for emergencies, but start getting control of your life. One of the biggest ones I've seen in just 98% of American households, cable TV. You don't need it. It's propaganda. It's junk. You'll be a far better person if you sit down and read a book. All right? And you're not paying for that nonsense. And how many times have you sat down on, 250 channels and there's nothing to watch? Really? Don't tell me you can't put together money to start a homestead as you're, using cable TV. Bull. Yes, you can. Get rid of that stuff. Start getting your life down to minimums. Set your goals. How long do I want it to be before I get on that homestead? How much money am I going to need to do that? Look at options. Maybe you can lease a farm. Then you can get the income coming in from selling eggs, raising chickens, raising cattle, whatever, to help put back and move forward with buying your own place. There's thousands of ways to do it. But the biggest thing is you've got to get just heck bent and determined that you have these goals and you have a plan to obtain those goals, and you will do what it takes to get there. All right. I have moved down into clothing that I hadn't wore in so many years it's not even funny. All right. I'm eating a lot less. I'm spending less. I'm feeling better. All these things come into play. Your health, when you get back out on your homestead, is going to be very important to you, because you're going to have to do a lot of hard work. All right. Start thinking, folks. Don't make excuses for yourself. All right. If you need more income, it'd be nice to say, well, let me go get a job that pays me high six figures. That probably isn't going to happen. So you're going to have to take what you got and work with it. Make sure you put in a garden this year. Okay. If you're allowed to have chickens, do that. That'll cut even more off your food budget. You have to minimize. You have to cut this thing back, because what ends up happening is people set up their budget for their income. If I make $50,000 a year, by golly, I'm going to spend that on living. Another thing to think of, if you're on a low income, use your head, folks. You're probably going to need credit to get this done. And I hear a lot of folks say, I don't really have credit. Fix that. It is very fixable. All right? Start using your head for something other than the hat rack. Get out and get your credit report run. See what negative things are out there. Start getting them fixed. A lot of times these companies that you have old debt with will work a deal with you. Okay? Get it cleared off your credit record. Start reestablishing your credit. Okay? I hear people that are getting back $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 on for a income tax return, let's say. And they'll run out and they'll buy a car, or they'll run out and buy a new washer and dryer, or they'll run out and buy this, or they'll run out and buy that. And usually because, well, we don't have credit, kind of thing. Okay. Number one, if you're dealing with the small banks, now the big banks are not so much, but the small banks, little mom and pop operations, the little local smaller banks, put that money on deposit in a savings account with them. You're thinking, how's that going to help me? Very simple. You put that on deposit, leave it sit there for a month or so. Go in and sit down with the loan officer and say, hey, listen, I got to buy a car. I'm needing, you know, I found this car for this amount of money. I really don't have much credit. So what I'm willing to do is, if you'll give me a secured loan, and I will use my savings account to secure it, to buy this car. 9 times out of 10, you'll find a bank willing to go along with that because they already got their money. Now, if you got $1,000 in there, expect them to not loan you the whole $1,000 because they're looking to get their interest and so forth back. But they'll work you a deal on a loan, and you take your loan and go buy your car if you need to, and you make payments religiously to that bank. Okay, if it comes down to making that loan payment or eating that day, you might want to pass and lose a little weight. Make sure you pay that loan on time. Okay? You establish credit. All right? And then a lot of times if you've done that once or twice, you'll find that they will give you the full amount that you have in that savings account and use that savings account as collateral. Different things like that. Secured credit cards are another good option, as long as you use them wisely. Yeah, you'll have to put $300 or whatever back on this credit card account, but only use that credit card, maybe buy gas once or twice a month, and then make sure you pay that bill to where it's a zero balance at the end of the month. Pretty soon you'll start getting offers for credit cards. Now, the balances may not be too high, but treat them the same way. Okay? Make it very religious of taking care of that credit card. Don't even carry it with you. I mean, you know, leave it at home. And only use it at times when you really go out and, here again, put a little gas or whatever on it. Something you're going to pay off that month. Maybe 2 at the latest. Okay? But always make your payments. Pretty soon, folks, you're going to have credit. Enough to get a mortgage for sure. All right? Because you're establishing good credit payments. These are things you need to start working on. All right? You can get a place with very little income if you use your head. If you're making, let's say, $20,000 a year, and you're spending more than 25% of that $20,000 a year in rent and utility payments, then guess what, folks? You're living too high on the hog. You need to cut that back. All right? You need to go find something cheaper. You want to get to where that's down to around the 20 to 25% area. That's going to free up cash to start putting back in the bank. Set your goals. What's important to you? All right? How serious are you? Okay? That's where it boils down to. How serious are you about doing this? And then start looking for ways to do it. I'm going to do a couple of videos on how to repair your credit. But if you are making, let's say, $25,000 a year, okay? And if you put back 10%, on average, you have bought an acre of ground per year. Within 5 years, you got a 5-acre place, okay? Or you can save that money up and have it as a down payment. But most folks, what they end up doing is, well, I need this, or I need that, or the car's not running like it should, and yada. You're going to find 1,000,001 excuses. Okay? Here again, you have to set your goal and say, how important is this to me? 5 years down the road or whatever, do I want to have a place where I can raise a cow and some goats and some chickens and be on my own place? Or not? If you want to live in the suburbs and continue that game, then, then don't. It's that simple. Use your head. It's sacrifice. Now, if if your husband makes a lot of money and so forth, then you need to start making some adjustments to where you can get where you need to be. All right. But if you're on a tight budget, you got to get mean. You got to get real mean. And you got to say, this is so important to me that I'm willing to sacrifice whatever I need to sacrifice to get this done. Doesn't happen overnight. Okay. And it's very easy to step back and go, now I'll just use some of that money for this, or I'll use some of that money for that. I'll put it back later. All right. They'll do that. Set your goals. Get realistic. If you're paying $500 a month rent, if you could find a place cheaper and even save $100, okay, that's $1,200 a month you're putting into a bank account. It adds up. All right. If you can cut your utilities back, put back another $50 a month, all right, that's just that much more. Everything, anywhere you can cut. If you drop off that tank of gas each month, that goes into the bank. You're going to have to get a little ornery about it. But let me tell you something. If you're going to be a successful homesteader, you're going to have to be a little ornery. You're going to have to set your priorities and get after them. And I'm walking firsthand knowledge of that. You have got to do what you've got to do. To me, getting back on the land is more important than anything else in my life. More important than the vehicle I drive, the clothes I wear, the house I live in, or anything else. All right? I've always got my eyeball because I deliberately did not get into a lease where I'm at. So if I find something where I can save myself $100 a month, I'll be moving again. All right? And I got pretty cheap rent where I'm at because I'm out to lease. Okay. So these are things to think about. Set your goals. Is this really what you want? If so, you're going to have to make the sacrifice to get there. If you're not willing to make the sacrifice to get there, you'll never see it. You'll be sitting here 10 years from now going, I'd like to be a homesteader, but... Okay? Be honest with yourself. No, you don't. Not really. And if you don't have what it takes to roll up your sleeves and start putting it together, you're not a homesteader. You're somebody that likes to look at it, think about it. Sounds good. To be a homesteader, you got to be willing to stand up and say, I'm going to do what I got to do to be a homesteader. And that's going to continue once you even set foot on that land. It's not going to be an easy road to hoe. It's going to be a lot of work. All right? Going to be tough times. So do you have what it takes? That's the question. If so, I'm going to do a series of stuff on how to clean up your credit, how to start saving your money, how to get your life in order. That's step one, right where you're at today. Okay? I love you guys and appreciate you. I hope this is going to help some of you. But don't make excuses for yourself. You got to do this. If that's the goal of your life, you've got to do it. Nobody's going to do it for you. It's just not going to fall out of the air. You're probably not going to win the lottery. Okay? This is Rick Testing Homestead. I love you guys and I appreciate you. And I'm hoping I'm helping. I may piss some of you off. Pardon my language. But I'd rather tick you off as to blow sunshine up your tush. It's not going to be an easy road, especially if you're low income. But it can be done. All right? It can be done. Let's get to it. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Talk to you later.